He opened the door angry and froze when he saw a woman staring back at him, like she had been waiting for this mistake. Elias Rowe thought he was walking into a restroom. Instead, he walked straight into his own judgment. The room was small and bright. Machines hummed. A monitor beeped in slow time. No flowers, no cards, no jackets on chairs. Just a thin black woman sitting up in the bed, hands folded over the blanket like she was bracing for a hit. Her eyes locked on his. They were tired but sharp. Not confused, not scared. Just done. "You're late," she said. "No hello? No who are you?" Just that. Elias stayed in the doorway, hand on the metal handle. No one talked to him like that. People waited for him, laughed at his weak jokes, lied to his face. In this room, none of that mattered. Before we go deeper, ask yourself something. If you opened the wrong door and saw this, would you stay or walk away? Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story. He cleared his throat. "I'm sorry. I think I've got the wrong..." "If you're here to explain something, you don't," she cut in. "If you're here to check a box, you don't. If you're here because you feel bad, you really don't." For a second, Elias forgot how to speak. He did not even know what she thought he was. Outside the door, voices echoed down the hallway. A cart squeaked past. He hated hospitals. The smell, the sound, the way time crawled. He almost stepped back, almost let the door close and filed this away as a strange moment in a bad day. That was what he usually did. Leave before anything stuck. Instead, he heard himself ask, "If I walked out right now, would it even matter to you?" The woman lifted one shoulder, a tired half shrug. "You'll walk out either way. That's what they do. They walk in with big words, talk about options, talk about risk, and then they walk out. The door always closes on me, not on them." He did not know who they were. Doctors, administrators, maybe family, maybe no one at all. "I'm not with the hospital," he said. "Then that's worse," she answered. "Means you don't even have a reason to be here." She watched him like she was studying him for a test he had not agreed to take. His watch, his shoes, the cut of his suit. She saw money, distance, and a man who looked like he could walk away from anything. "You look like someone who leaves before it gets hard," she said. "Tell me I'm wrong." He opened his mouth, then shut it again. Images flashed in his head. People he had let go over a screen. A woman who once told him he was impossible to love, and his answer had been silence. "You don't even know me," he said quietly. "I don't need to," she replied. "You're already halfway turned toward the door." Only then did he notice his body had shifted, shoulder angled out, weight ready to leave. She sank back against the pillow as if his almost departure was no surprise at all. "Don't worry," she said, eyes on the ceiling now. "You won't stay. None of them do." Something in his chest pulled tight at those words. For the first time in years, Elias Rowe did not know if he wanted to walk away. He heard her words again before he even sat down. "You won't stay. None of them do." They echoed louder than the noise of the cafe. Elias stared at the coffee. Same brand they served on his jet, but it tasted different here. Bitter. Thin. He loosened his tie and tried to steady his breathing. He hated that his hands shook. He hated that one stranger's voice had cut through walls that money and power had never cracked. "Sir?" His assistant, Lena, slid into the chair across from him, tablet in hand. "London is on standby. Are we pushing the call or are you joining now?" He didn't answer right away. His mind was still upstairs, in a bare room with a woman who had already decided he would leave. "Tell them 20 minutes, he said at last. Lena blinked. 20? They're expecting 20, he repeated. She nodded and walked away. He brought the cup to his lips, then set it down untouched. Why did it bother him so much? He had ended deals over short calls, fired people who begged, walked out on tears and never looked back. This should have been the same. Instead, every time he closed his eyes, he saw her sitting up in that bed, not begging him to stay, not even asking his name. Just naming him for what he was, someone who leaves. Have you ever had a stranger read you like that in seconds? The kind of moment that sits in your chest and won't move? He leaned back against the wall. Nurses rushed past, people clutched cups and phones. Nobody here knew his net worth. Nobody cared. He thought about the last woman he'd dated, fancy events. The night she left, she'd stood in his living room and said, "You're in the room, but you're never with me." He'd watched her go and ordered a car. So why did this woman upstairs, this maid-turned-patient who didn't even know his full story, feel different? He saw another flash. A young employee, voice shaking as he explained he needed more time to pay a loan back. Elias had leaned forward and said, "This is business, not charity." Deal closed, life wrecked. He forgot the man's face a week later. Down the hall of his memory, he could hear doors closing, people calling his name, then stopping. Maybe Makina hadn't been guessing at all. Maybe she'd seen the trail he left without knowing him. He checked his watch. 10 minutes gone. He could stand up, leave the hospital, and never see her again. It would be easy, that was the scary part. Easy to walk out, easy to pretend this was just a strange moment in a bad day. A lot of us walk past people like her and tell ourselves we're too busy. If you've ever done that, even once, you know how heavy that silence can feel when the day finally goes quiet. Be honest with yourself in the comments below. He pushed his chair back and stood. The choice beat in his chest like a second pulse. Work, calls, money on one side. A woman who expected nothing on the other. He walked to the elevator, each step slow, like his body knew this decision mattered more than any deal he'd ever signed. He hit the down button, thumb hovering in the air. The doors slid open with a soft ding. He didn't move. For the first time in his life, Elias Rowe stood between leaving and staying and had no idea which man he was about to be. She hit the floor before the bucket tipped. The sound was dull, final, like a door closing. Makina tried to call out, but her tongue felt heavy. The room spun. Cold tile pressed her cheek. Somewhere far away, a voice said her name. Or maybe she imagined it. "Not now," she whispered to herself, to her body, to the day that still had 2 houses left. Before that moment, her life had been rooms that never belonged to her. Big rooms, quiet rooms, mansions with glass walls and rules taped to fridges. She cleaned fast and spoke slow. "Morning," she'd say. Most days no one answered. Sometimes a note waited on the counter. "Don't use bleach, don't touch the closets." Payment in an envelope, slid just far enough to avoid a hand. She used to talk to her mother in her head while she worked. "Keep going, baby. Wipe in circles. Don't rush the corners." When her arms burned, she hummed low, the way her mom used to when bills stacked too high. Makina told herself singing meant strength. Clients came and went like weather. "Kitchen only today," one said without looking at her. Another left a list and never a name. No one asked how she was. No one stayed long enough to hear the answer. The spray burned her throat. Strong stuff. She cracked a window when she could. That day, there was no window. The room tightened. Her vision dimmed. She leaned on the sink. The mirror showed a woman she barely recognized. Eyes dull, skin gray. Then her knees folded. Sirens. Lights. A sharp voice cut through the blur. "Ma'am, stay with me." Hands lifted her. A mask pressed down. The world narrowed to sound and heat and then nothing. Makina woke to white. A man in a coat spoke fast. "Kidneys aren't doing what they should. We'll run tests." He checked a box and moved on. The nurse stayed. Soft voice. "I'm Steph. Squeeze my hand." McKenna did. The grip surprised them both. Hours passed, or days. She wasn't sure. No phone buzzed, no footsteps hurried in for her. Steph came back with water and a smile. "Any family?" McKenna shrugged. "They're busy," she said, then smiled at her own joke. "Guess I'm not worth the parking fee." Steph laughed gently, then looked away. A voicemail played once, then stopped. "Rent reminder," a voice said, flat and polite. McKenna stared at the phone until the screen went dark. She thought of her ex, the way he'd said, "I didn't sign up for this," when hours got long and money stayed short. She remembered nodding, like she understood. Maybe she did. Maybe leaving was easier than staying when staying asked too much. At night, she practiced being invisible here. She pressed the call button less. She said, "Thank you" more. She learned how to smile without asking questions. It felt safer. Alone. Imagine working your whole life in other people's homes, and not one of them shows up when you're the one on the bed. If that thought stings even a little, someone else needs to hear this story too. McKenna learned the sounds of the ward. Carts, beeps, doors opening and closing. People entered her life the same way. Quick, necessary, gone. She told herself that was fine. Doors were honest. They never promised to stay. Months later, the door opened again. Different footsteps, slower. A man stood there, hand on the handle, eyes wide like he'd walked into the wrong world. McKenna looked up, already tired of waiting, and said, "You're late." The door was already half open when she spoke. "Don't tell me you brought that coffee again." Elias stepped inside with 2 paper cups and the look of a man who wasn't sure why he'd come back. "I heard a hospital torture comes in liquid form," he said. "Thought we could suffer evenly." McKenna snorted. "You rich people are wild. You got a jet and still drink this." He set 1 cup on her tray. For a second, he just stood there. Suit too sharp for the soft light, like somebody had dropped him in the wrong movie. "So," she said, watching him, "you got lost again." "That's one way to put it," he answered. She tilted her head. "Feels more like a habit. Do you always walk into rooms that aren't yours, Elias?" His name in her mouth made him blink. He was sure he hadn't told her. "How do you know who I am?" he asked. She nodded toward the hallway. "Nurses talk. Mr. Rowe wants this. Mr. Rowe needs that." Big voice, tight jaw, shoes that don't squeak, hard to miss. He looked down at his shoes before he caught himself. She smiled, small but real. "Relax," she said. "I've cleaned enough hallways to know the sound of money." "You think that's all I am?" he asked. "I think that's what the world sees when you walk in," she replied. "Suit first, soul never." He tried to laugh it off. "You've built a whole story from 2 visits. I've seen your type for years," she said. "People who pay extra to never see the people who scrub their bathtubs. People who throw fits over streaks on glass but ignore the woman holding the rag." Her words were calm, not bitter. Somehow that stung more. McKenna picked up the cup and took a tiny sip, her face twisted. "This is nasty." "I warned you," he said. "And you still brought it anyway," she answered. "That's suspicious behavior." For a moment, the room felt lighter. Not safe, but less sharp. 2 people hiding behind jokes because the truth was too close. "You never told me your name," he said. "You never asked," she replied. "I'm asking now." "McKenna." He let it sit in his mind. McKenna. Simple and strong. It didn't fit the picture of her lying alone in a room no one visited. "You come from money, McKenna?" he asked. She laughed once. "If I did, a bed with wheels would not be my long-term address." He smiled in spite of himself. The monitor beeped steady between them, counting seconds neither of them could buy back. Most people would say this is where a man like him makes an excuse and leaves. Says he has a call, a flight, a life. He almost did. His body leaned toward the door. Instead, he pulled the chair closer and sat down. "You were pretty sure I wouldn't come back," he said. "I'm still sure," she answered. "But I'm here. For now." No anger. Just truth. He studied her face. The lines pain had drawn there, the stubborn light that hadn't gone out. "Why does it matter to you if I stay or go?" he asked. McKenna looked at him for a long time, as if weighing something heavy. "Forget me for a second," she said at last. "What are you running from, Elias?" The room felt smaller, like walls were listening. Whatever he said next could change more than his day. "What are you running from, Elias?" The question hit him harder than he wanted. He could have joked, blamed the coffee, blamed the long day. That was his move. Keep things light, keep moving, never stay long enough to feel seen. Instead, he stared at the cup in his hand. His fingers picked at the sleeve. "I'm not running," he said. "I'm busy. There's a difference." McKenna gave a small shrug. Busy men don't hide in hospital rooms that aren't theirs. "I'm not hiding," he said too fast. "You walked past 3 restrooms to get here," she replied. "You don't land in 814 by accident twice." He looked up. Her eyes were calm, steady. "You don't even know me," he said. "Don't need to," she answered. "Men like you don't buy coffee for strangers just because it's Tuesday. You show up when something feels wrong inside you. You give a little, feel better, then leave before it costs you anything real." "That's harsh," he said. "That's honest." He shifted in the chair. "What else do you think you know?" She took a tiny sip, then set the cup down. "You look tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. Your phone's been buzzing since you walked in, and you haven't checked it once. Either you're avoiding bad news on EAs, or you're avoiding going back to whoever you are outside that door." She nodded toward the hallway. Her words landed close. His jaw tightened. "Maybe I just like your company," he tried. She gave a short laugh. "You don't even know my last name." He didn't. That bothered him. "What is it?" asked. "Lewis," she said. "McKenna Lewis." He let it settle. The name felt heavier than anything on his schedule. "Okay, McKenna Lewis," he said. "You read me. Happy now?" "No," she replied. "But at least you heard it." The monitor kept its slow beat. He cleared his throat. "So, are you getting out of here soon?" She smiled at the ceiling. "You mean, do I get to go back to scrubbing rich people's sinks and pretending my back doesn't hurt?" "If that's what you want to call it," he said. "They've got me on a list," she said. "A list for what?" he asked. "For a kidney," she said, "if I live long enough to reach my turn." The simple way she said it made it worse. There are people right now waiting on lists like that, with nobody sitting in the chair beside them. If that thought makes your chest tight, don't just move on like it's nothing. Elias swallowed. "How long have you known?" "A while," she replied. "They love numbers and stages. Makes it easier for them to sleep." "How bad?" he asked. She turned her head toward him. "Bad enough that this bed feels more honest than any house I've cleaned. Bad enough that the nurses say when, more than if, when they think I'm asleep." His mouth went dry. "How long?" "Long enough that I stopped talking about next year," she said. "Not long enough to stop hoping on the days it doesn't hurt as much." He sat there, a man who could buy almost anything, and for the first time he couldn't reach for a fix. He opened his mouth to speak and found nothing. McKenna watched that. "That's what I was trying to tell you," she said quietly. "You're not used to rooms you can't control, Elias." She held his gaze. "So now we both know what I'm waiting on," she added. "The question is, what are you still doing here?" He woke up in the dark with her sentence in his head like an alarm. I'm on a list for a kidney, if I live long enough. The room was quiet, but his chest wasn't. His sheets were soft, his bed huge, the city lights on the ceiling, and none of it helped. He checked the time. 3:12 a.m. He rolled onto his back and stared up. He had closed billion-dollar gaps on less sleep than this. He had flown across oceans, smiled in rooms where everyone wanted something from him, and never once had his heart raced like this over a woman he barely knew. He tried to call it guilt, or curiosity, or a rich man's urge to feel human, but every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face when she said it. If I live long enough. By morning, his head hurt and his patience was gone. Lena met him at the elevator. London is ready for you on video, she said. They're expecting you in 30 minutes. I can push if you need. Move it, he said. To when? She asked. Tomorrow. Or never. Tell them something came up. She frowned. Is everything okay? No, he said. Then, softer. Just handle it. The driver opened the car door, but Elias didn't slide into the back seat. He leaned on the frame instead. We're not going to the office, he said. Take me to the hospital. The ride was short and too long at the same time. His phone lit up with messages he ignored. Each buzz felt like another life trying to pull him back. He kept seeing McKenna's hand on that blanket, the way she talked about her own life like it was a coin toss. He walked in through the same side entrance, air sharp with bleach. Elevator, 4th floor, hallway. He knew the turns now. Room 8114. He reached for the handle and pushed. The bed was empty. The blanket was folded tight. The monitor was off. The chair was pushed neatly under the window like no one had needed it in days. For a second, he couldn't move. His stomach dropped. This was what endings looked like in his world. Clean, silent, already cleared for the next person. A voice behind him made him turn. Can I help you? A nurse asked. Steph, same badge, same tired kindness. Where is she? He asked. McKenna, she was here. Steph's expression softened. She's with us, she said. Her numbers dropped overnight. We had to move her closer to intensive care. He exhaled so hard his lungs hurt. Is she tired? Steph said. Her blood work doesn't look great. Her body's working hard, but she's still fighting. He nodded, but the words didn't feel like enough. Tired. Fighting. Those were words people used when they were trying not to say scared. Can I see her? He asked. Steph hesitated, then shook her head. They've got her in a monitored unit now, she said. Family only past that point. I'll sign whatever form you need, he said. Pay whatever. I just need 5 minutes. She held his eyes. It doesn't work like that up there, she said. Money doesn't open that door. Names don't either. Looked past her, down the hall toward the wing, she meant. For the first time, there was a place he couldn't reach just by wanting to. Then put me down as something else, he said. Friend. Visitor. Anything. Steph glanced at the chart, then back at him. I'm sorry, she said, right now to them. You're nobody. You can't go past this point, Mr. Rowe. Steph's voice was calm, but the desk felt like a wall. Behind her, a sign read, ICU. I just want to see her, Elias said. 5 minutes. Steph shook her head. It's restricted. Family only. Same rules for everyone. He leaned in. Nothing is the same for everyone. You know who I am. I know you're the man with the bad coffee who sits longer than most, she replied. And I know McKenna is tired. She needs rest more than another argument. So that's it? He asked. I stand here while she's in there alone? She's not alone, Steph said. We're with her. The monitors are on. He glanced at the double doors, hearing the beeping in his head. And if she wants to see me? He asked. Then she can tell us, Steph said, but she hasn't asked for anyone. That last word hit harder than he expected. He stepped back. For once, money and power meant nothing. He left the desk, but not the floor. He sat in a hard chair down the hall and stared at the tiles until they blurred. By late afternoon, Lena had called 3 times. He answered on the 4th. "Sir, London is asking for a new time," she said. "You've missed 2 windows. Do you want me to cancel?" "Do whatever you want," he said. "I'm busy." Pause. Busy with what? He looked at the ICU doors. "Trying not to lose something I never had," he said, and ended the call. That evening, he went home. The quiet in his penthouse made the hospital seem loud. He walked past the bar, the view, straight to the phone. He dialed the hospital and asked for McKenna's room. It rang twice. "Hello?" Her voice was thinner, but still hers. "It's me," he said. "The guy who keeps walking into the wrong rooms with bad coffee." She gave a small laugh. "Guess they finally kicked you out." "They said family only," he replied. "Apparently I don't qualify." "Told you," she said. "You're not supposed to be here." "So why does it feel like I am?" he asked. She sighed. He could hear machines behind her. "You don't have to do this, Elias." "I know I don't have to," he said. "I want to." "That's the problem," she answered. "How is that a problem?" he asked. "Because want turns into hurt," she said. "I don't need someone watching my numbers slide the wrong way. I don't want your face to be the last thing I see before some machine flatlines." "Don't talk like that," he said. "Why not?" "It's my life," she replied. "Or what's left of it." He gripped the counter. "Maybe what's left is more than you think." "And maybe it's less," she said. "You can't buy me time, Elias. You can't fix this. All you can do is sit there and feel worse. And I can't carry your pain on top of my own." "It's not just my pain," he said quietly. "That's exactly why you shouldn't stay for it," she whispered. "It's easy to say, I don't want to be a burden. But the real question is, how many people have we let carry their pain alone because we were scared to sit with it?" On the line, he heard her breathing slow. "McKenna," he said, softer now, "if I walk away, is that really what you want?" There was a long pause. Then, barely above a breath, she gave him an answer that would haunt every choice he made next. "You want me to be honest, Elias?" His private doctor's voice came through the speaker, calm and tired. Elias stood in front of the tall windows of his office, city spread out under him like a chart he could no longer read. "I pay you for that," Elias said. "So yes, be honest." "You mentioned she was a housekeeper?" the doctor asked. "She cleans homes, hotels, offices, bathrooms mostly," Elias replied. Saying it out loud made his throat feel tight. There was a pause on the line. Papers shuffled. "Chronic kidney failure like hers," the doctor said slowly, "can come from long-term exposure. Certain drugs, heavy metals, or harsh chemicals, especially the kind used in cleaning products." The word hit him like a thrown stone. Chemicals. "Housekeepers, janitors, maintenance crews," the doctor went on. "They're at higher risk than most, breathing this stuff, getting it on their skin every day for years. The body keeps the score even when nobody's watching." Housekeepers. The word echoed in his head. Not as a job, as a target. "So you're telling me," Elias said, "that the work she did to survive might have helped kill her?" "I'm telling you it didn't help her," the doctor answered, "and you asked for honesty." They ended the call. The line went dead. The room felt louder without the voice in his ear. Elias turned toward his desk. 3 screens glowed, waiting. Emails, reports, messages. Work he threw himself into like a shield. Tonight it all looked small. He sat down and opened a folder his operations team had sent him weeks ago. Product updates, safety reviews, a division he barely thought about. Cleaning supplies. He clicked through the files, labels, marketing notes, cost breakdowns. His logo on bottles meant for kitchens and bathrooms he would never see. One line caught his eye. LX19, heavy-duty bathroom cleaner. He opened the safety sheet. Strong solvent base. Use gloves. Use mask. Avoid long-term contact. In small print near the bottom, prolonged exposure may impact kidney function in vulnerable individuals. His signature sat under the approval box. His stomach turned. He remembered the meeting, a blur. A team had pitched it as efficient, cost-cutting, perfect for commercial use. Someone had mentioned worker complaints. He'd brushed it off. We're within legal limits, he'd said. Move forward. Legal limits, not human ones. He pulled up the distribution chart. Hotels, office buildings, cleaning agencies, the same words McKenna had used. Houses, hotels, offices, bathrooms mostly. He saw her again in that mansion bathroom, alone with a spray bottle that burned her throat. This wasn't fate. He zoomed in on the risk line on the screen, the tiny warning that had never mattered to him until now. It felt like looking at his own fingerprints at a crime scene he hadn't meant to walk into. He walked over to the bar cart in the corner and poured a drink, then set it down without tasting it. His hand was shaking. For years he'd told himself he built systems. Ships, roads, supply lines, things people used. What they did with them was on them. He pictured every woman like McKenna, alone in a tiled room, lungs burning, hands raw, trying to keep a job. He turned back to the glass and caught his reflection in it. The suit, the neat hair, the man who signed forms and forgot the names under them and lived with it. It wasn't just bad luck that put McKenna Lewis in that hospital bed. For the first time, Elias let the full thought in. I'm part of this. I want to get tested. Elias said it before he could talk himself out of it. No assistant, no security. Just him at the transplant coordinator's desk, hands flat on the counter. The woman behind the desk looked up. Her badge said, Harris. Tested for what, sir? She asked. For donation, he said. Kidney, for a patient here. Her name is McKenna Lewis. Are you related? She asked. No. Partner, spouse. He hesitated. No. Then why her? Harris asked. Because my signature is on the poison that helped break her body, he thought. Because I opened the wrong door and saw my damage lying in a hospital bed. Out loud, he said, because I can't keep standing in the hallway doing nothing. She studied him, then stood. Come with me. They took blood. Weight. Pressure. Asked about past surgeries, conditions, drugs. He answered everything in clipped, simple words. For once, his history couldn't be padded with money. In a small exam room, the doctor laid it out. Here's the truth, the man said. Donating a kidney is major surgery. You'll be under anesthesia. We open you up, we take something you were born with, and you live the rest of your life with one. I know how subtraction works, Elias said. The doctor didn't smile. You'll have pain, he continued. You'll be weak for a while. No lifting. No long trips. There's a chance of complications. Infection. Bleeding. Sometimes we do everything right and the body still argues. And if everything goes right? Elias asked. Most people live normal lives with one kidney, the doctor said. But there's risk. You'll feel it when you get sick. At checkups. You're trading some of your safety so someone else can have a chance at theirs. It was the clearest deal anyone had ever offered him. Okay, Elias said. Run the tests. You understand you can back out at any time before surgery, the doctor added. He met the doctor's eyes. Then don't give me exits, he said. Just tell me if I can help her. They handed him a form. He signed his name in the box marked potential living donor, the same hand that signed off on LX19. The ink felt heavier. The next 3 days blurred. He went to work, but his mind stayed in the hospital. His body sat at the head of tables, but his ears were tuned to different sounds. In his head, he kept hearing that monitor, that slow, steady beep, counting down something he couldn't see. In the lobby, he watched families fold together. A father rubbing his son's back. A woman whispering over vending machine coffee. A teenager staring at the floor like crying cost too much. He sat alone with a suit jacket over a chair and no one's name on his sticker but his own. On the third afternoon, his phone rang while he was standing at a window, watching an ambulance pull in. "This is Elias," he said. "Mr. Rowe, this is Harris from the transplant team," the voice said. "We have your results." His hand tightened on the phone. "And?" "You're a match for Ms. Lewis," she said. He didn't breathe. Most of us say we'd help if it really came down to it. But standing on that edge, knowing the cost, would you still say yes? "Mr. Rowe," Harris asked, "are you still there?" He looked at his reflection in the glass, a man who finally had something real to give, and realized he was more afraid of saying yes than he had ever been of losing money. He said it before she could finish her sentence. "I got tested." McKenna stared at him, eyes sharp. "Tested for what?" "For you," Elias said. Silence pressed the room. The monitor kept time, her jaw set. "No," she said. "Absolutely not." "I'm a match," he said. Her laugh was quick and hard. "You don't get to say that like it's good news." "I'm trying to help." "You're trying to own it," she shot back. "I don't want to live with your sacrifice hanging over me." "It wouldn't be like that." "It always is," she said. "Every time someone saves you, they expect you to carry them forever." "I wouldn't expect anything." "That's what they all say," she replied. "Then it shows up in looks, in silence, in the way they remind you who paid the bill." He took a breath. "I'm not those people." "You're a man who walks into rooms and decides things," she said. "I don't need another decision made on my body." "I asked the doctors." "You ask them," she cut in. "Did you ask me?" He stopped. She swung her legs toward the side of the bed, wincing. "You don't even know what this costs," she said. "The fear, the waiting, the guilt. I won't wake up every morning thinking I owe you my life." "I wouldn't let you," he said quietly. "Listen to yourself," she said. "You talk like you're in charge." He swallowed. "Then tell me what to do." "Leave," she said, "and don't make this harder." He didn't move. Her eyes narrowed. "What do you do for work, Elias?" "I run companies," he said. "Which kind?" she asked. "Logistics, shipping, manufacturing," he replied. She held his gaze. "Say it plain." "I own a cleaning supply brand," he said. "Among others." Her face changed, not anger, recognition. "Name it," she said. He hesitated. "LX19. She stared at the ceiling, breathing shallow. "Blue label," she said. "Red stripe." "Yes." "The one that burns your throat," she said. "The one they tell you to use fast and keep the window open." "Yes," he said. Her hand trembled. "I used that bottle for years." "I didn't know," he said. "You didn't look," she replied. "You signed it and forgot us." The room felt smaller, the beeping louder. "So this," she said, gesturing between them, "isn't kindness, it's cleanup. That's not fair." "Fair?" she said. "My kidneys are failing. Your name is on the bottle." He stepped closer. "I'm here now." She finally looked at him, eyes wet and steady. "Then understand this," she said. "If I say yes, I carry you inside me. If I say no, I die knowing who helped put me here." He opened his mouth. "Get out," she whispered. He froze, realizing the worst truth wasn't her answer. It was that saving her might be the last thing he was allowed to do. He backed toward the door, heart loud, every step heavy. The hallway waited like a verdict. Behind him, the monitor ticked on. Ahead, his phone buzzed once, then stopped. He didn't turn around. He couldn't. If he did, he would beg, and begging would change nothing. Outside, the lights hummed. Inside, a truth settled. He wasn't choosing whether to save her anymore. He was choosing whether to face what he had done. And somewhere beyond the glass, a test result sat in a file with his name on it, waiting to decide what came next. Upstairs, nurses moved quietly, and McKenna closed her eyes, unsure if tomorrow would bring answers, pain, or an ending. She was ready alone. "So you're not here by accident," McKenna said. Her voice was calm now, which scared him more than anger. Elias shook his head. "I didn't know." "Not then." "But you know now," she said. "And you stayed." "I stayed because you matter," he replied. She smiled without warmth. "I've spent my whole life cleaning up other people's messes. Floors. Toilets. Blood off tile. Now you want to clean up yours? With my body." "Huh, that's not what this is," he said. "It is," she answered. "You signed the paper. You sold the bottle. You forgot the hands that held it." "I'm trying to take responsibility," he said. "I shut things down. I can fix." "Fix?" she cut in. "You don't fix this by cutting yourself open and calling it love. You fix this by changing what you built." "I will," he said. "I already started." She met his eyes. "Too late for my kidneys." The room fell quiet. Machines hummed. Somewhere a cart rolled by. "You don't get to save me to feel clean," she said. "I won't carry your relief inside me." "I'm not asking for relief," he said, voice breaking. "I'm asking for a chance." "A chance costs me everything," she replied, "and costs you a story you can survive." He took a step closer. "McKenna, please." She pressed the call button. The sound was sharp, final. A nurse appeared at the door. Steph's eyes moved from McKenna to Elias. "Please," McKenna said steady, "make him leave." Elias didn't argue. There was nothing left to say that wouldn't sound like ownership. He nodded once and turned. His shoes sounded too loud again. Each step felt counted, earned. The hallway stretched. People passed without seeing him. He felt smaller with every pace, like money was draining out of him through the floor. At the door, he stopped. The number stared back. It looked like a sentence. "Have you ever hurt someone without meaning to? And realized too late that sorry isn't big enough? Some mistakes don't need words. They need change." He stood there until the nurse closed the door behind him. The click echoed. On the other side, McKenna breathed through the pain and stared at the ceiling, choosing herself. On his side, Elias understood something he'd avoided his whole life. If he wanted to stay, he would have to become someone who deserved to. The elevator doors opened and closed without him noticing. He walked past them and kept going until the wall stopped him. He leaned his forehead there, not crying, just empty. Outside, the night air hit his face. For the first time, he felt the weight of what his signature had done, multiplied by years, by rooms, by people he never learned to see. He opened his car door and stopped. The reflection in the glass looked unfamiliar. Smaller. Older. He knew what apology looked like to him. A press release. A check. A promise. None of that would reach her bed. He thought about every room he'd left early, every call he'd ended first, every warning he'd waved away. The pattern was clear now. Leaving had always been his talent. Staying would be his punishment if he chose it. And punishment finally felt like purpose. Tonight. Alone. His phone buzzed again. This time he looked. A message from the hospital flashed on the screen. Please call. It's about Makina. His hand tightened around the phone. He didn't know if the call would be a beginning or an ending. He only knew he had run out of doors to hide behind. He drove to the hospital 3 times that week and never walked through the doors. The first time, he circled the block and watched people go in with hunched shoulders and plastic cups. When the light turned green, he said, "Home," and stared straight ahead. The second time, he pulled into the parking lot. Engine off, hand on the door, her words in his head. "You don't get to save me to feel clean." He sat there until the windows fogged, then said, "Office," and the car rolled away. The third time, he made it to the front steps. 1 foot on the curb, 1 palm on the glass. A nurse pushed a bed past the doors, and his heart jumped. Not her. He let out a breath he hadn't known he was holding. "We're leaving," he told himself, and did. Inside his companies, nothing slowed. Ships docked, trucks moved, screens flashed green. "You're quiet today, sir," Lena said. "Thinking," he replied. "We closed the Asia deal," another man added. "Big win?" He nodded. "Good. Pay everyone on time." On paper, he was fine. Numbers up, investors calm. The world saw control. Only the mirror in the bathroom saw the truth. His eyes looked dull. His tie felt like a hand around his throat. He avoided the hospital's number when it lit his screen. If he answered, whatever they said would become real. Bad news would crush him. Good news would mean going back to a woman who told him to leave. Across town, Makina slid through another day hooked to machines. "Ready?" the tech asked, unlocking her bed for dialysis. "As I'll ever be," she said. The room was cold. Machines lined the walls, humming steady. She watched her blood travel out through a tube, circle a metal box, and return like it had been through war. Steph checked on her halfway through. "Pain level?" "This side of screaming," Makina answered. "Jokes again," Steph said. "Cheaper than drugs," Makina replied. Steph's eyes moved to the empty chair by the bed. "He really hasn't come back," she murmured. Makina stared at the ceiling. "He's busy." "Men like that always are." "That doesn't answer my question," Steph said. "What question?" "Do you miss him?" Makina's throat tightened. "He offered me a piece of his body like he was tipping me," she said. I told him no. "What's left to miss?" "That moment still hurt," Steph said. "Hurt is normal for me," Makina replied. "Breathing is the bonus." Later, when the lights dimmed and visitors left, the ward grew quiet. TV screens went dark. The only sounds were air vents and steady beeping. Makina lay awake, counting the spaces between each tone. She thought about the big houses, the beds she made, the tables she wiped after dinners she never tasted. Faces in frames she dusted every week. Not one of those people knew she might not see next year. The ache behind. Her ribs wasn't just medical. It was the shape of an empty chair, the weight of no one saying, "I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." She pressed her hand over her eyes. "You wanted him gone," she whispered. "You pushed him out. You said you didn't need anyone." The words sounded thin in the dark. A tear slipped into her hairline. "Maybe that's how it ends then," she said softly. "Same way it's always been?" She let the thought sit, cold and honest. "You," she breathed, "cleaning up alone." She listened to the monitor and wondered if anyone would notice when that careful, lonely rhythm finally stopped. "Say that again," the lawyer said, leaning forward. "You want to shut it down?" "Today," Elias replied. "Effective immediately." The room went quiet. 12 people around the table, screens glowing, charts frozen mid-rise. "That division brings in 9 figures a year," an executive said. "We're within legal limits." Elias didn't raise his voice. "Legal doesn't mean right," another man laughed, sharp. We followed every rule. Warnings printed, gloves listed, you signed off. I did, Elias said. That's why this ends with me. A woman tapped her pen. Do you know what this will do to stock confidence? Yes, he said, and do it anyway. This is emotional, someone snapped. You're reacting to one case. One case you can see, Elias said. Thousands you never looked for. He slid a folder across the table. We're pulling LX19, every version, every shelf. We're funding medical screenings for exposed workers. Quietly, fully. A murmur rose. That's an admission of guilt. No, Elias said. It's an admission of responsibility. Silence followed. Finally, the chair cleared his throat. Vote, he said. Hands went up, some slow, some angry. It passed. Elias stood. Draft the notices, call logistics, and set up the fund, today. Name? The lawyer asked. Elias paused. Use theirs, he said. Not mine. He left before anyone could argue. An hour later, he walked into a smaller room. No suits, no screens. Just a long table and tired faces. The transplant ethics board. A doctor folded her hands. You're requesting to proceed as a donor despite patient refusal. I am, Elias said. Why? Another asked. Be precise. Because stopping won't undo what I caused, he said. And because she deserves the option, even if she never chooses me. This could look like pressure, a man warned. I won't speak to her, Elias said. I won't visit. I won't ask for forgiveness. I just want the door open. And if she says no? The doctor asked. Then I live with that, he replied. They exchanged looks. Your wealth complicates this, someone said. I know, Elias said. Strip it away. Judge me like anyone else. Motives matter, the UE chair said. Are you doing this to feel better? Elias swallowed. I'll feel worse, he said. That's the point. A long pause. Medical clearance? The chair asked. Approved, a doctor said. Psych evaluation? Passed. Legal? Clear. The chair nodded. Then we approve moving forward. Elias exhaled, slow and shaky. Understand, the chair added. This doesn't promise surgery. Only readiness. I understand, Elias said. He stepped into the hall, phone buzzing with fallout, lawsuits, headlines forming. None of it mattered. Somewhere above him, McKenna lay awake, unaware a line had been crossed that could not be uncrossed. The board's decision echoed in his chest like a door opening he could not walk through yet. Approval granted. Everything else would come next. Who's that from? McKenna asked. The white envelope was taped to her tray, her name written on it in a careful, uneven hand. No hospital stamp. No printed logo. Just ink and nerve. Steph peeled the tape back. No return address, she said. They dropped it at the desk and asked us to make sure it reached you. McKenna stared at it like it might bite. Then put it with the others, she said. Bills, tests, I'll lose it later. This one looks different, Steph said. Feels heavier. It's paper, McKenna replied. It all weighs the same when you're tired. Steph set it down anyway, close to her fingers. You don't have to open it, she said. I'm just delivering. When Steph left, the room sank into a low hum. Air vent, distant monitor. Her heart. McKenna picked up the envelope, turned it over, then set it down again. Hope had teeth. She had learned that the hard way. What if it was from a collection agency? What if it was a form telling her she'd fallen further down the list? Worse, what if it was from him? Her thumb found the edge and slipped under the flap before her mind could stop it. Inside, one sheet. No letterhead. Just his handwriting. McKenna, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to love me. I'm not even asking you to say yes. You were right about me. I walked into your room by mistake, but I stayed for me. I wanted to feel like a better man than the one who signed off on things without looking close enough. I can't change the days you spent breathing chemicals I helped put in your hands. I can't rewind the moments you hit the floor while I sat in a boardroom thinking about profit. I can change what I do now. I've closed the line that carried that bottle. I've started something for the people who used it. It won't fix what's already broken, but it will mean someone else's lungs, someone else's kidneys, get a different ending. You don't owe me your body. You don't owe me your trust. You don't owe me another word. But if they tell you that I am a match, I want you to know, this isn't my guilt looking for a home. This is me standing where I should have stood before I ever knew your name. You taught me what it means to see someone. I won't unsee you. If your answer is no, I will still live with the part I played in your pain. If your answer is yes, I will live with the scar and be grateful. Either way, this choice belongs to you. Elias, her hands shook by the time she reached his name. She read the letter twice, wishing the lines would turn cruel so she could hate him clean. They didn't. A tear slid down her cheek. She scrubbed it away as Steph walked in. You read it, Steph said. It's just paper, McKenna muttered, folding it tight. You don't have to answer him, Steph said. He shut the line down, McKenna whispered. He actually did it. Steph was quiet. Then he listened. McKenna pressed the letter to her chest. There are people who will never hear the words they deserved while they were still breathing. If this letter hit you, don't keep it. Someone should. Feel it. That night, when her doctor came in, she looked him in the eye and asked, if I take his kidney, what happens to him? He was folding a t-shirt when the doctor called to confirm the time. 6 a.m. check-in, the man said. We'll take you back around 7:30 if everything looks stable. Stable. Elias looked at the small overnight bag on his bed. It felt like packing for a trip he might not fully come back from. I'll be there, he said. Do you want someone with you? The doctor asked. No, Elias answered. Just me. He ended the call, turned his phone off, and left it on the dresser. No buzzing. No emails. The penthouse felt huge and hollow with the lights dimmed, like a museum of his old life. He walked through the living room, past the view, past the awards, past the framed headlines. At the door, he flipped the main switch and left it dark behind him. The hospital room they gave him was smaller than his walk-in closet. Thin blanket, narrow bed. It felt right. A nurse went over the steps. No food after midnight, paper bracelets snug on his wrist, consent forms he'd already signed. You can still change your mind, she said. I already did, he replied. That's why I'm here. Later, with the hall quiet, he asked if he could see McKenna. They said short visit, Steph told him at her door. She needs rest. I won't stay long, he promised. McKenna was propped up against extra pillows, hair wrapped in a scarf. When she saw him in the doorway, something like relief flickered before she forced it flat. So you really showed up, she said. I have a bad record with doors, he answered. Figured I should see this one through. She nodded toward his bracelet. Looks good on you. Very normal people chic. He smiled. You jealous? A little, she said. I've been wearing mine longer. He pulled the chair close to her bed and sat. For a minute, they just listened to the hospital sounds. Each beep felt like a clock he couldn't control anymore, ticking. Are you scared? He asked. Yes, she said. You? Yes. They let the word sit between them. I hate that I need you, she said finally. I hate that you needed anyone at all, he replied. Her eyes glassed. That's a nice line. It's the truth. She picked at a loose thread on the blanket. What if something happens to you? Then you get stuck with a scar and no rich guy to blame, he said. She huffed out a small laugh. You're not as funny as you think. Good thing I'm not doing this for my comedy career, he said. Her hand drifted toward the edge of the bed. He noticed the motion, then the way she stopped herself halfway. He closed the gap and rested his hand on top of hers. Her fingers were cooler than his, but they curled around him. If we survive this, she said quietly, we start clean. No debt. No you owe me or I owe you. We meet each other like it's the first day. Deal, he said. New story. No bottle between us. No hospital either, she added. Just a door you meant to open. He squeezed her hand. I'll try not to miss it this time. A nurse cleared her throat at the doorway. We need to get her settled, she said. You both have an early morning. He stood, but didn't let go right away. Good night, McKenna, he said. Good night, Elias, she answered. Neither of them said what they were both thinking, that there was a chance one of them wouldn't see the sunrise. The ceiling light slid past in broken lines as they wheeled him down the hall. Cold air hit his arms. Rubber wheels squeaked. Voices blurred. Deep breaths, Mr. Rowe, someone said above him. We're almost there. He turned his head as they passed another door. For a second, he thought he saw her bed, her profile, her eyes closed. Then the door swung shut and she was gone again. The operating room was bright and sharp, metal, blue cloth, masks. A nurse placed a hand on his shoulder. We'll take good care of you, she said. Take better care of her, he answered. An oxygen mask lowered. The world shrank to plastic and his own breath. Count back from 10, a voice said. 10, 9. Darkness. He woke up to pain. It wasn't sharp at first. It was heavy. A weight pressing into his side like something had been scooped out, and the absence itself hurt. Easy, a nurse said. You're in recovery. He tried to speak. His tongue felt thick. Her, he managed. McKenna. She's out of surgery, the nurse said. The kidney's in. It's working. He let out a sound he didn't recognize. Half laugh, half sob. Tears slid sideways into his hair. You did good, the nurse said. He didn't feel good. He felt split open. Weak. Small. But her name and the word working sat next to each other now, and that was enough. Hours later, McKenna's eyes fluttered open in a different room. The first thing she felt was quiet. Not silence, but a lighter kind of breathing. Like her body had been fighting underwater for years and had just broken the surface. Steph leaned over her. Welcome back, she said. McKenna swallowed. Is he okay? You're the one who just had major surgery, Steph said, smiling. And that's your first question? Answer it, McKenna whispered. He's sore. Tired. But stable, Steph said. The surgeons are happy. Only then did McKenna let herself relax. Good, she breathed. Only after that did she ask, and me? Numbers look better already, Steph replied. Your new kidney started working fast. Most sacrifices never make the news. They happen in quiet rooms with no cameras, just love and fear. If this shook you even a little, don't let it disappear like it never happened. Later, a doctor sat by Elias's bed with a Ishmacha chart in hand. Your surgery went well, he said, but you need to understand what comes next. Tell me, Elias said. You'll have pain for a while, the doctor explained. Fatigue. You'll have to watch your blood pressure, your diet. No heavy lifting. No running yourself into the ground like before. You're more exposed now. Any serious illness down the line could hit harder. And long term? Elias asked. We expect you to live a full life, the doctor said. But there are no guarantees. You gave away your backup system. Elias leaned his head back against the pillow. Worth it, he said. When the doctor left, the room dimmed. The brave words stayed on the air, but his chest tightened in the dark. What if his body failed him earlier than it should? What if he couldn't work the same? What if this scar was the start of a slow collapse he hadn't planned for? For the first time, he let himself feel it all. The fear, the cost, the unknown. And somewhere down the hall, a monitor near McKenna's bed sped up, as if her new kidney and his unanswered questions were beating in time together now, whether they liked it or not. The first time he sat up, the room spun. Elias gripped the side rails of the bed, jaw clenched. Pain shot through his side like someone had left a hot knife in him. Sweat broke across his forehead. "Slow," the nurse said. "You don't have to stand today. Just sit." "I used to run companies from 3 time zones at once," he muttered. "Now sitting is an achievement." "Welcome to recovery," she said. He swung his legs over the edge, feet touching the cold floor. His muscles shook. He felt every beat of his heart against the stitches. Down another hall on a different floor, McKenna took her first deep breath without the old weight pressing on her ribs. It scared her how easy it felt. "Feels wrong, doesn't it?" Steph asked. "Feels like a trick," McKenna said. "Like my body's going to change its mind." "We'll keep checking," Steph promised. "So far, your labs look better than they have in a long time." "Better than never is still new," McKenna said. Days slipped into each other. Elias learned to stand, then shuffle, then walk a few steps with a walker. Each step pulled at his side. His pride hurt almost as much as the incision. "Don't rush," the physical therapist said. "Your body just lost a major part." "It went to someone who needed it more," he said. "You both need it," she replied, "just in different ways." McKenna learned to trust numbers on a chart. Creatinine, output. Words she never cared about now meant everything. "In range," the doctor said one morning, smiling. "Your new kidney is doing its job." "What if it stops?" she asked. "Then we deal with that," he said. "But today it's working." She laughed with Steph over bad TV shows. She cried once in the bathroom when no one was looking, terrified by how much she wanted this to last. Both of them kept asking the same question in different rooms. "How is she?" Elias asked. "How is he?" McKenna asked. Nurses traded answers like quiet gifts. "She wanted to know if you were okay," they told him. "He wanted to know if you were sleeping," they told her. It took a week before they agreed to let him visit her. They wheeled him into a room in a chair. He hated the way it felt, being pushed, but when he saw her sitting up, color returning to her face, he forgot the chair. "You look terrible," she said, but her smile betrayed her. "So do you," he shot back. They laughed, soft and unsure. For the first time, there were no tubes between them. No beeping, shouting a countdown. Just 2 tired people with matching scars they couldn't see yet. "I don't know what we are," McKenna said after a while, voice low. "We don't need a word yet," Elias replied. "We can just be here." She reached out her hand, slow and careful. He took it without thinking. No fear this time, no deal, no debt. His grip was warm. Hers was steady. Outside, near the main entrance, a different kind of hum started. A camera crew, 2 reporters, a security guard trying to wave them back. "Is it true?" one asked a staff member. "Did a billionaire donate a kidney to his maid?" The story was waking up, even if they didn't know it yet. And once that kind of story steps outside hospital walls, it never walks alone again. It grows, twists, and decides for you who you are before you even get to choose its face. The headline hit her before the doctor did. "Billionaire donates kidney to former maid." It flashed across the TV in the corner, across Steph's phone, across the nurse's station outside. By noon, it was on every screen within reach. McKenna stared at it, chest tight. "Former maid," she muttered. Like that's all I ever was. Steph scrambled for the remote. We can turn it off. Don't, McKenna said. Let's see what they think they know. The segment played footage of Elias walking into a building months ago, taken from some old news piece. Smiling. Confident. Rich. A voiceover said, "Sources say the billionaire shut down a controversial cleaning product line before making the life-changing donation." They said nothing about the nights her throat burned, the floors she scrubbed, the way her life shrank while his grew. Then the comments started. On TV, online, everywhere. Looks like guilt, not love. She must have trapped him somehow. Of course she got a rich man's kidney. People like us just die on the list. Watch, he'll use this for PR. Rich folks always do. McKenna scrolled once on Steph's phone and stopped. Her stomach flipped. Her body felt smaller than the bed. The internet is full of people judging lives they don't have to carry. If you've ever felt like a headline instead of a human, you know why stories like this shouldn't be ignored. She handed the phone back. "Turn it off," she whispered. Across town, Elias watched the same headline replay on a muted screen. His phone buzzed. "We have outlets requesting interviews," Lena said over the line. "Morning shows, business channels. They want you to talk about the shutdown, the donation." "No," he said. "This could help the company's image," she pressed. "We can frame it right." "I'm not framing anything," he replied. "No interviews, no statements. If anyone asks, tell them this is private medical information and we're not using it as content." A lawyer called next. "We can get ahead of the narrative," he said. "Make sure nobody spins this as an admission of wrongdoing." "I already admitted it," Elias said. "I shut the division down. Start paying out from the fund, quietly." "You're really moving forward with the sale?" the lawyer asked. "Yes," Elias said. "My shares. My name off the brand, off the building too. That building has your last name on it," the man reminded him. "Change it," Elias answered. "The people cleaning those floors never needed to see mine." The paperwork began. He let go of control, sold off the piece that hurt her, stepped back from boards, from titles, from corner offices with his initials on the doors. Weeks later, when he walked into her room again, he looked lighter and older. "You've been busy," McKenna said. There was a folded newspaper on her tray with another headline about the shutdown. "I had things to undo," he replied. "I didn't ask you to erase yourself," she said. "I didn't erase myself," he said softly. "I just made room for someone better to show up." "Who?" she asked. He held her gaze. "I'm still figuring that out." In the hallway outside, a nurse hurried by, whispering to a coworker. "That's him," she said. "The billionaire who gave away his kidney and his company." Their words hung near the door like smoke. And as a notification lit up on a nearby phone, another story, another angle, both of them knew this wasn't just their own business anymore. The world had stepped into their room, uninvited, and it wasn't planning to leave without taking something else important. 1 year later, the first thing that stood out was how easily she walked into the room. No tubes, no machine clicking time for her. Just McKenna, in jeans and a plain shirt, standing at the front of a small community center classroom with a marker in her hand. On the board behind her, 3 words were written in big letters. "Know your rights." A group of housekeepers and janitors watched as she drew a simple picture of lungs, a kidney, a spray bottle. "This stuff doesn't just clean tile," she said. "It can clean years off your life if nobody warns you." They listened. She talked about gloves, masks, open windows, about asking questions even when the boss looked annoyed. "Your body is not disposable," she said. "They can replace a bottle. They can't replace you." After class, a woman came up. "You really went through all that?" she asked. McKenna smiled. "I'm still going through it," she said. "But I'm standing up now. That's new." Across the city, Elias was learning a slower life. It felt strange, heavy and honest all at once. He woke up without 10 missed calls. He made his own coffee, badly. He went to follow-up appointments where doctors reminded him to breathe before worrying about everyone else. He sat on a park bench and watched kids instead of a stock ticker. He still had money, but not the kind that moved markets. He had walked away from that version of himself. "You sure about staying out of the spotlight?" Lena asked over lunch one day. "I spent years filling every room," he said. "It's time I learned how to just be in one." In the hospital where they had almost lost each other, the hallway on the 8th floor looked the same. Beige walls, scuffed baseboards, humming lights. McKenna stood there now, fingers tracing the number on the door that used to be hers. She heard footsteps and didn't have to turn to know who it was. "You know there's still no restroom down here," Elias said. She smiled. "You always get lost in the same place." He walked up beside her, a little stiff but steady. The scar under his shirt tugged when he took stairs too fast. He took them anyway. "They repainted the sign," he said. "Still smells like bleach and secrets," she replied. They stood shoulder to shoulder, looking at a door that once meant endings. "You remember what you thought the first day?" he asked. "I remember thinking you looked expensive and useless," she said. He laughed. "Fair." "And you?" she asked. "I thought I'd opened the wrong door," he said. "Didn't know it was the right one yet." The hallway went quiet around them. Reached into his jacket, then stopped, hand closing around nothing. No ring. No speech. No big show. "McKenna," he said. She turned. "I don't want to fix you," he said. "I don't want to own you or pay you back. I like who I am when I'm next to you. Do you want to build something real with me? No headlines, no debts, just choice." She looked at the door, at the number that had held her worst days. Then she looked at the man who had walked into her life by mistake and stayed on purpose. "Yes," she said. Not because he saved her, because he changed. In that quiet hallway with no cameras, only their history watching, the word hung between them like a promise neither of them yet knew how far it would reach. The first thing she remembered about her wedding was the sound of pens scratching. No organ, no aisle. Just a small courthouse room with beige walls, a clock, and a judge who looked like she'd seen every kind of promise. McKenna stood in a simple dress, one hand on the table to steady herself. Elias stood beside her in a dark jacket, his scar hidden, his eyes steady. "Do you understand what you're agreeing to?" the judge asked. McKenna glanced at him. "More than I did with my last cleaning contract," she said. Elias huffed out a breath. "I read the fine print this time," he added. Steph was there, in her scrubs, holding a bouquet someone had grabbed from a corner store. Lena stood in the back, phone off, watching her boss as a man and not a name. "Then by the power given to me by this state," the judge said, "I pronounce you husband and wife." No crowd, no band, just 4 people, a clock, and 2 signatures that said, "We choose this," on purpose. That night, their kitchen was bright. McKenna stood barefoot on tile, stirring a pot that smelled like home. Elias leaned on the counter, watching her instead of the food. "You still don't measure anything," he said. "You still don't trust flavor," she replied. He reached for a spoon. She slapped his hand away. "Wait," she scolded. "It's not ready." "You were ready," he said. "You said yes." "I said yes to work," she corrected. "To dishes and arguments and you leaving cabinet doors open." "You do know you married a man who used to have people close cabinets for him," he said. "You do know you married a woman who used to clean for people who never learned how to say thank you," she replied. They laughed. When the food was done, they sat at a small table, knees almost touching. No staff, no servers, just 2 plates and the sound of forks. "If you hadn't opened the wrong door," she said between bites, "none of this would exist." He looked at her. If I hadn't opened the wrong door, he said, I would have stayed lost. They let that truth sit between them. Not magic, not fate, just a chain of choices, some selfish, some brave, that landed them here. Love, for them, wasn't a lightning strike. It was time in hard chairs. It was paperwork. It was apologies with actions behind them. It was standing in front of the damage you caused and not running. Love wasn't destiny. It was showing up, staying for real. Somewhere, someone is standing outside a wrong door that could change everything if they just walked in. If this story touched you, don't let it end here. Let someone else feel it too. Later, when the dishes were done, McKenna leaned against the doorway and watched Elias struggle with a jar lid. Need help, Billionaire? She teased. He grunted, then laughed when it finally popped. Look at that, he said. Still useful. She walked over and touched the spot on his side where the scar lay hidden. You were useful long before this, she said. You just didn't know it. They turned off the lights together, room by room. Bills would still come. Checkups would still hurt. Old memories would still sting on some nights. But when they reached their bedroom door, he didn't rush ahead or hold it only for himself. They opened it together, and for the first time in both their lives, the door in front of them felt like the right one.